Hey friends, what's up? Phillip here with Points with Phillip, and I'm here to talk about this really cool new sign-up bonus that's on this really interesting and compelling hotel card. So let's get into it. But before we do that, I'd like to go ahead and ask you guys to like and subscribe. Doing that helps me and YouTube know that what I'm doing is helpful, and in doing so, that in turn helps more people to see this content. So I really appreciate you. And if you're someone who is already a subscriber, I really appreciate your support. Thanks so much for being a part of our channel and our community. All right, so let's get into the IHG Premier card sign up bonus here. So this is an interesting card here. So first of all, we'll talk about the sign up bonus, and then we'll talk about the card, and then we'll talk about what you can do with the card. So the IHG Premier card is a hotel card for the International Hotel Group. And so they have a lot of different hotel properties, which we'll talk about. But it is a Chase card. It's a Chase co-branded card. So this has a sign up bonus of 5 free nights up to 60,000 points for each night. So that could be a grand total of 300,000 point offer. Now, we say could be because, well, you could redeem your points for something less than 60,000 points, in which case then, you would not get the 300,000 points. But we'll see what we can do with that. So in order to get this bonus, you have to use the card to spend $5,000 over the course of 3 months. And so it's very similar to the spending required for the Chase Sapphire Preferred, which also had a record high sign-up bonus not that long ago, right? Okay, so let's talk about this card. So this card, the IHG Premier card, we're going to be talking about the personal side today. That has a $99 annual fee. Now, as far as hotel cards go, that's actually pretty innocuous, and especially when you think about what it is you're buying with that card, and we'll get into that in a second. Now, what can you earn with the card? Is it something you actually want to spend long term? So let's talk about it. So you get 26 IHG points per dollar. Now, 10 of those 26 points only come from actual spending on the card. So you get 10 points per dollar for using the card you get 10 points per dollar for using the card at IHG properties. Now, this is kind of similar to how other properties do it. Marriott does the same thing where you only get 6 points per dollar on their cards, and then the rest of it is from loyalty or your tier status, things like that. The Hilton card is the same way. And so that's pretty standard. So let's take a look. You get 5 points per dollar on travel, dining, and gas stations. So 5x seems like an interesting multiplier, but we'll get into the point values in a little bit, and it may not be as valuable as it sounds like it is. Now you get 3 points per dollar on everything else, so that's table stakes. Now here's the thing, just by holding the card and associating it with your IHG account, you have the ability to redeem points for 3 nights, and then you get the 4th night free. And so you only have this benefit if you have this card. And so this can help you kind of move in an interesting direction now, and kind of save some money and make your points worth more, essentially, right? So that could be good. Now, you could also, this card gets you access to TSA PreCheck or global entry, and that can be up to, I think, $120 over 5 years. So, it's not, the yearly benefit's not that good, but it's nice to have. It's a good travel card, and having that's kind of important because, well, honestly, TSA PreCheck and global entry is really helpful. And global entry in particular with the IHG card, because some of their international hotels are compelling. All right, so let's take a look. Also, this has basically, you automatically get Platinum Elite status. This gets you free upgrades as available and guaranteed room availability. Now, if you want the free breakfast with IHG, you need the Diamond status. Now, with this card, although it doesn't come with Diamond status, you have the option of earning Diamond Elite status after you spend $40,000 on this card in a year. Now, that's a lot of spend to put on a card, and I definitely wouldn't be recommending to do that, but it's an option. Now, with this card, you also get a free anniversary night credit, and that's good up to 40,000 points. You can also cap it off for more points. So if you find a room that's 50,000 points a night and you have 10,000 IHG points in your account, you can top that off. And so that's helpful. Now, there's also another interesting bonus that may be helpful for you guys. We'll see. If you spend 20,000 each year, you get $100 and 10,000 bonus points. So basically 150 bucks back after spending 20,000 in a year. So if you're spending that much on IHG properties, then great, yeah, definitely do it. But I wouldn't really work that hard for that bonus. It doesn't seem like it's worth the squeeze, essentially. So now, interestingly enough, you also get a 20% bonus on points purchases. So this actually can be interesting because in some cases, you actually find where IHG has 100% off or 100% back sales. And so basically, you're able to buy points at essentially half a cent a piece, right? And that's the average redemption value for most nights with IHG. And so that could be nice to have another 20% bonus on top of that. That can make, you could have some really interesting point arbitrage opportunities if you are able to partake in that. And so that can be helpful. All right, so let's talk about what brands are in IHG. So the nice properties are going to be your Kimptons, your Hotel Indigos, your Intercontinentals, and your Regent hotels. So Intercontinentals are really nice. There's 2 in Washington, D.C. There is one that's really kind of old school, really old fashioned. And then there's one that's kind of newer in the newer part of town that's actually on the waterfront. And that's pretty interesting. So there's a decent amount of Intercontinentals around. There's a couple in New York, there's one in Paris, one in London, the whole 9 yards. Now, there's also kind of on their mid-level to lower level, there's Voco, Crown Plaza, Holiday Inn, Staybridge Suites, Candlewood Suites, and a couple others. So they have kind of the more probably known for like the Holiday Inn Suites, the lower market, at least in the United States, right? So let's take a look at what this sign-up bonus is worth. So I went ahead and took 2 cities just randomly. So, well, not randomly, the 2 cities that I'm interested in staying at. So I took Washington, D.C. Now, the 2 Intercontinentals that I spoke about are not redeemable for under 60,000 points a night. So unfortunately, those are out. But now there is a Crown Plaza in Crystal City. I've actually stayed there. It's decent, right? Crown Plaza are kind of like, they're nice, but they're not like, oh, wow, I'm so nice. It's like, it's business nice, And so the 54,000 point cash rate is $266 a night. And so that's going to be 0.49 cents per point. So, basically 250 times 5 nights is going to be about 1250, right? Now, there's also a vignette collection downtown that's 63,000 points a night. And that's $336 for a night stay for the cash rate. And then that means that's 0.53 cents per point. There's also a Holiday Inn Express downtown. So this one's going to be interesting. So it's a Holiday Inn Express, but it's in a big city and it's 60,000 points a night. Now the cash rate is $289 and that's 0.48 cents per point. So you can see that they're pretty close to that half a cent a point valuation. So that's interesting. So what if we wanted to go to a different city? So my wife and I are planning a trip to Edinburgh and, to the rest of Scotland proper, and we'll probably be stopping off in London for a few nights as well. Now, if we're interested in using some of these free night certificates, we would be probably wanting to go maximize our stay, right? So now there is an Intercontinental it's called the Intercontinental The George, and this is in Edinburgh, and essentially some nights, so first 2 weeks in December, which is when we'll kind of the time of year we'll be going, that is 58 cents or 58,000 points per night. Now that ends up being, for that cash rate for that same redemption, was $302 a night. Now it's also important to note that during the summer season, which is considered kind of more in season, that is the prices for that go up to 80,000 points a night. So you have to kind of be, if you're wanting to stay at a nicer property, you have to go kind of off season in order to make these point values work. Now, if you want to go during the fall season, is also pretty busy. The Voco Edinburgh had 65,000 points a night. That was $327 a night, and it was about 0.5 cents per point. Now, there's also two other hotels. There's a Holiday Inn Express at 52,000 points per night, and that has a cash rate of $244, so 52 or 0.52 cents per point. Now, so you can see here that pretty much basically, if you wanted to buy these points, it doesn't really make sense to buy them if you're redeeming them at 0.5 cents per point, right? Because you're buying them at 0.5 cents a point, you're spending at or near that for other places, right? Or a year for your redeeming. Now, the only reason why points are interesting is because that fourth night free benefit by holding the card. And so that's why, so all of a sudden it goes from 0.5 cents per point to maybe closer to 0.6, 0.7, possibly 0.8 cents per point with that free night. And so that's saving you a lot. So if you are going to be staying at places for 4 nights, then having that fourth night free can really be helpful in towards extending your extending your rewards and your points to maximize that. So there are some, by holding this card, it makes it easier to buy points and get more value. So that's important to note too. So who is this card for? So IHG has a huge footprint globally, and a lot of their nice hotels across the ocean actually are really worth staying at. The Intercontinentals are really nice. The Kemptons are always going to be nice. And there's a decent amount of them in major cities. And so if you're going to be going either overseas or traveling around the United States, having this card is not bad. It's not a bad idea. Now, if you're a business traveler and you're looking for, standard hotels, there's a lot of really decent, really recent Holiday Inn and Suites, or Holiday Inn, these Holiday Inns and things like that. They're not bad, right? There are some bad ones, but they're not like, it's not like you're staying at the Sleep Inn or the Red Roof Inn or something like that, right? So there's a lot of options. They got kind of the mid-range, kind of the cheap range locked down with Holiday Inn in the United States. So you can actually use those stays with this card to get all these points, and then you can use those points to help fund your international travels, say to Paris, right? There's an Intercontinental that's right next to, the Opera, and that's really nice. And so you can actually, if you're traveling for business and you're able to kind of pay for it yourself and get those points, then, use this card to extend that stay, and, get a free night in Paris, right? There's all sorts of options with this kind of card. But anyway, I just want to let you guys know about, this opportunity. And, thanks so much for listening to me, and I can't wait to talk to you again next time.